Hello, folks. Here we are, another Saturday Night Live, Saturday, July 18th, 2020. And the circus continues. What was it? Yesterday. Yesterday, they did mask wearing in all enclosed public places. I think, but it may be throughout Canada, I'm not sure, but it's interesting. There's several people, along with a vaccine safety group here in Ontario, that implemented a lawsuit against all the provincial governments, according to the lockdowns, the masks, and the vaccination. It's a big, massive lawsuit. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we all know what happens with courts. And it could take years to get anything done in that system. But at least the ball's been put in motion, and we'll see what that pans out. So I had to go to Home Depot today, so I just walked in with no mask. And they said, "Where's your mask?" I said, "I'm exempt." And I just kept walking. I was the only one in the whole store with no mask. Because, I don't know, I think the US has similar, but there's human rights regulations, or whatever you want to call it, that fall into place for people that have exemptions. And they can't ask you for what reason it is. So if they start mumbling and whatever, I printed out all the notifications for the businesses from the government and the Human Rights Commission bull crap about putting in a complaint to the business or whatever if they're giving you a hard time. So, and then just put them on notice that if you want them to educate you on how to find out information, it will cost them $1,000 a minute. Just we got to stand for our rights. Big agenda in place. They're ignoring from any signs of government bureaucrats. So it's you can see it's taking a toll on people. People will do just about anything the government says right now, without question. And we need to really keep our field strengths up high and focus on elevating these souls that have no clue of what's going on. I just see that their agenda is very clear: to enslave everyone. It's not about money. They can print all the money they want, and they always have been. It's about control, and they're talking about all these conspiracy theories, where all these things that they were suggesting were conspiracy theories are all come to reality now. Every single thing. There's good news happening out there. There's all these pedophiles being taken down, man, one by one. It's almost every week there's something happening, which is amazing, awesome news. This is what needs to happen. Maybe it's a front for all this. Who really knows what's going on? Unless you're in the hierarchy of the bureaucrats who run the countries and so on and so forth. We don't really know, but it doesn't matter. Let's keep our field strength up high. Let's send everybody plaf. Let's elevate the souls that just don't have an understanding. Cannot get upset at individuals like just doing their jobs, even though they're, don't know what they're doing, they're ignorant. Um, you know, the regulations clearly state the business has to educate all their employees on exemptions for masks and so on and so forth. Um, so, um, if they want to get educated by us, they can pay for it. We're not going to do it for free. Just like walking in their store and buying things, it's not free. And another interesting thing that everybody should know is if you're trying to pay with cash, which is legal tender, I believe it's the same in the US as it in Canada or any of the Commonwealth countries, more or less. It's deemed paid. So you walk out with the product, and if they call the cops, say they refused my legal tender, and they can't do anything to you. It's a lot of hassle and bull crap, but this is the way the laws are written. They must accept any legal tender that is in place in the country. So keep drinking that grape juice. keep enjoying the that plaf. The plaf is incorruptible. It's absolutely, it cannot be corrupted plaf. Humans are corruptible. So we got to focus on plaf. Plasma love always flowing. Just focus on that wonderful, beautiful energy. Whenever we get confronted with any of this bull crap, and focus, continue on that path. I was just talking earlier, Steve. They implemented masks up here yesterday in all enclosed public.
Yeah, California, didn't they, sir?
They did?
I think so, California.
Oh, they've been mandatory here since like March.
Yeah. Well, you see, what they've done, I don't know how it works down there, but what they've done up here, they cannot enforce a man-woman. So what they do is they enforce the businesses, the corporation, the dead fictions to enforce their bullcrap laws. That's what they do. Because they can't do it to the man and woman. They cannot do it. It has to be done through a fiction, because that's their whole freaking world. It's a fiction world. The whole legalese bullcrap.
Either Missouri or Minnesota created a hotline for citizens to turn in their fellow citizens for not wearing a mask.
Yeah. What's a citizen? It's a fiction. Another fiction. It's a corporation. All caps. But anyway, this is what we're playing with now. And the second wave, be rest assured it's coming before September. This has been all planned out. There's a few good videos that I watched. And it's been planned out for more than a decade, what's happening here. And they're grasping at all straws to try and implement their agenda right now. And what I think, that's what happened is, I don't believe they thought it was going to be this easy.
Yeah.
That everybody was just going to bend over. And they're in kind of that state of, holy geez, now what do we do? It's, so that's what's going on, I believe. And, if you listen to any of whatever they talk about in the public, these bureaucrats, it's all contradictory from one day to another. Nothing makes any sense. They're telling you what to do. They're not wearing masks. They're not social distancing, physical distancing. It's just, they don't give a shit anymore. They're doing it right in front of our faces. They just want to, put their agenda right out there. They don't care. They really don't care. They don't care about you or I. If anybody believes that, man, my goodness gracious. Unbelievable. But how much grape juice did you drink today? Real interesting. Yeah, Wednesday I was we were cutting a hole out in the foundation for a bigger window, so it took longer than expected as usual. So I couldn't make the Wednesday call. We finished around 5:36, so I couldn't leave it because it was just too much noise banging away. But we had some fun making the hole. Makes a whole big difference in the basement when you put a big window. Really nice. So now we have to do another one. But yeah. So Sarah, you said you're a bit grumpy today.
Yeah, well, I'm dry fasting today,
Ah, okay.
and I'm rearranging the entire house. So keeping me busy.
Awesome. That's the best thing to do when we're dry fasting, keep busy.
Yeah.
Lay around doing nothing. You know, you get these grumpy states. Yeah, you know, but when you keep busy, you forget about being in that grumpy state and you have some fun, jump around. Always.
Yeah.
Move a muscle and change a thought.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, if you look at people who get in depressed states, they get into these states that just don't want to do anything. Like, you know, I've been there. And the more you want to do nothing, the more you get into the depressed state. So if you get out and move, you know, just go outside, go for a walk, breathe some air, hug a tree, go dancing, whatever. it's going to change your state. The emotion can be driven to change through motion. How long you been going, Sarah?
Oh, just since last night.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Like 19 hours right now, something like that.
Yeah.
Not much.
You always got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Is this your weekly?
Yeah.
How the kids doing? Children?
Well, they're screaming in the other room right now. They're okay. We're all a little disappointed because it's finally been voted on that we're starting the year with distance learning again. So that's gonna suck for all of us. It was pretty miserable when, I don't know, this last spring, all of us trying to do our stuff at the same time. Because with what I do, I had to be on the computer for like 8 to 10 hours a day, seeing students, and which left them to pretty much fend for themselves that time. But yet I'm supposed to be helping them with their school stuff, and I don't know, it was just a big cluster fuck. It was miserable.
There's a lot of parents having challenges, you know, that they have to work at home and stuff, and what it's all about. You know,
Yeah.
the government picked and choose who was essential, and who was it? All the big corps. And look at how much their wealth went up in just the last 3-4 months. It's ridiculous. All that wealth was sucked from who? From all the people.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger corps make them even bigger and more powerful. It's insanity what's going on.
Racket, worldwide racket.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Not much longer, don't worry, not much longer. It'll change soon.
it's got to
You can
change.
feel it, you can feel it. It's gonna change soon.
It's got to change. You know, we'll never go back to where we were. We got to move into the realm of light because what's happening now is just it's just uh, I remember when was it 35 years ago, introduced to concepts of all the fraud that's been going on in the government and taxation and all that stuff, and starting to talk to people about that, and they thought I was absolutely crazy back then. And now it's coming out more and more and more, getting more and more people waking up to this stuff, on how corrupt everything is. But I think their time is running out. We're in the era of light, the golden age of the Aquarian age, and right now the energies in this. I don't know if anybody else, but in the last 2-3 weeks, there's been a lot of retrograde planets, and everything's been feeling very heavy for me, for many people. Very, very heavy. So we're going to continue with some of this stuff, and energetically, I think till I think it was January of next year. So let's embrace it. Let's be prepared, but let's feed these energies plaf so we can elevate all these souls, because I really felt it. It was really tough the last few weeks, really tough. But
I didn't know what it was. That makes sense.
yeah, it's eased off a little bit, but we're gonna still feel some stuff happening for the next few months. So we got to keep our focus very sharp, more than ever. We can never ever let our focus down and give up into this, fiasco that's going on out there, because that's what they want. But like I said, right now, the majority of people, if the government goes boo, everybody jumps. It's just like, what's going? Like, it's like I'm in a freaking nightmare. Is this really happening? Every time I go out, everybody's got freaking masks on now, and it's just like, wow, wowzer. I was the only one in Home Depot with no mask.
But they won't let you in now down here.
Well, I just said I'm exempt and walked right in. They didn't bother me. But you're going to get situations where they're going to bother you and tell you to leave it. So you got to be prepared and know what to say. And, if you want to go down the road of putting a complaint with the human rights commissions or whatever you guys have in the different countries, you got to do that. Sometimes you're not in that mood to, educate them. We got to try and do it in a delightful way to just, inform them and show them, guys, what are you guys fucking supporting here, man? Do it in kind of.
They don't want to be informed. People don't want to know.
Yeah, there are a few people that will listen, Steve, and those are the only ones,
Not many. I haven't come across very many.
Yeah, I know, but hey, what are you gonna do? We can't give up, man. Can't give up. So, I was surprised. I thought I was gonna get confronted over there, but I just walked right in. And then another guy inside the store, somebody was working. He said, "Where's your mask?" "Oh, I'm exempt." And you just stay quiet, because they have to inform the employees of the exemptions. That's part of the whole thing up here. They have to inform the employees, and they can't ask questions of your exemption. Right? So I think there's something similar in the US. Will some of these, people allow it? Not everybody's going to go for it, right? People like to be in a power trip position. Some people in these times, you can see it. they love that, being in that position of power tripping, right? And what do? We elevate their souls, man. What are we gonna do? I get upset, but I just, okay, just walk away, elevate their soul, whatever. We're in interesting times, that's for sure, folks. The floor is open for anybody who wants to share anything that's been happening with you guys.
Well, just to continue about what you were saying with the exemptions, like where I work at a major university, and what I figured is that the one thing that the insurance companies are afraid of more than somebody catching the virus on the campus is a religious discrimination suit. So the one thing that trumps wearing a mask is religious freedom, you know? So I thought, wow, that's crazy, where a huge university, powerful, it's the most powerful entity in the state of California, like they are afraid of a religious discrimination suit more than people getting sick.
Interesting.
So, you know, I was very surprised to see that, you know, as a policy.
Always about the money, right? Do lives matter? They don't give a shit about lives. They don't.
I mean, I receive so many emails every day on the most mundane, like personal hygiene bullet list you could possibly imagine. It's so mundane, you know. So many emails.
Like just think of where we are with in this time of age in this planet, with all the technologies and everything and so on and so forth. We can end poverty, homelessness, and you know, having food on people's plate every single day tomorrow.
No profit in it.
Huh?
No profit in it.
Oh, I know. It could end tomorrow.
No, yeah,
Tomorrow.
absolutely.
So why are we still with these situations with people that are poor, people that are homeless, people that can't eat? Why? Why do we have that? You have to keep asking these questions to yourself. I have many ideas about it, but each person, each man, woman has to ask themselves. I'm going to stay away from the word person. Each man, woman has to ask themselves, why is it allowed to continue? You know, vaccines are going to save all these people from starvation. Yeah, vaccines going to do that. Okay, if you want to believe that, you're right. That's your right. Yeah. Common sense, logic. There's not much of it out there.
That's our education system.
Yeah, there was. I had a friend of mine over, and he would remind me of in the schools up here. He's got this old booklet from early 1900s. They used to teach in the schools about banking and money and all kinds of things. All that has been removed from the school system. Why? Because they don't want you to know this stuff. You know, they used to teach about, the principles of money and what do you call it? Slipped my mind. The basic structure of how the banking system works and the transfers of monies and so on and so forth, and all that kind of stuff. Stuff that you have to go to special schooling for that stuff now, for the privileged few, right? Whereas it was part of the curriculum way back. So everybody would learn that stuff because, this is part of our life. Why shouldn't we be learning this stuff?
We had something called home economics. Home economics back in the day, which is a little more, domestic than banking. But we did learn about, household finances and things like that back in the day.
How many years ago?
Yeah, a lot.
Well, yeah, I grew up essentially in the 70s, 60s and 70s.
See that they don't even. My daughter's a teacher. They don't even teach pretty much anymore. They teach to a test because everything's a test now.
Yeah.
So there's it's just, and the curriculums are not. I mean, they don't even write their own curriculums anymore. It's all
prepared.
It's all scripted.
Yeah, like I took metal shop, I took wood shop, auto shop, home economics, where you learn how to sew, and fix things. You don't hear about that much anymore.
Yeah, we had a kind of home economics class where there was like cooking and stuff like that, but I don't remember anything about banking or anything. I don't know.
Well, it was more like taking care of, I don't know, like household finance, I would say. But well, now, I mean, school is so, viciously competitive now, like to get into a university.
More people much longer. You're going to see many of these schools are going to go freaking out of business. This whole education system is going to change because of this, because there's millions of people that are they're homeschooling now. They're not going to send their kids back. These universities can't afford. They're not getting the tuition, so.
Yeah, there's, I think just in Ontario here, there was like 250,000 bankruptcies in the last few months.
They're going to hit soon because now I think the government stimulus and stuff is running out. And the moratorium on the foreclosures is ending, so all that's going to start. You're talking millions and millions and millions of freaking foreclosures.
Yeah. You guys are still in a state of an emergency?
I don't know what they call it.
Is there, if it remains in that state, is it possible to still have an election?
Good question. I don't believe you're going to see it, but I don't know.
Because
4 months out.
Yeah, because
my friend and I discussed this stuff a lot. We said right from the beginning that even before COVID, that we didn't think the election would take place.
Hey, sorry, you guys. Hey, Steve, I think you have like an audio issue. Do you have anything different with your audio?
It's after he emptied out his room.
It sounds like water.
How's that better?
It sounds like water's running.
Oh, the air conditioner's running.
Oh, okay.
It's like 100 degrees here today. It's hot.
Yeah, we got a nice warm one too. But so if let's say the election doesn't happen, what does it do? It gets postponed or
No,
no?
I don't know. I don't know.
No.
I don't know what the I don't know what the procedures are.
They're talking up here. It'll be in a state of emergency for another year.
It's insanity.
Yep.
It's been really difficult to stay focused the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. We'll get through it. We will get through it. Just stay grounded. Be outside more often as you can. You know, stay in nature, and keep busy. Keep busy. I backed way off from watching videos and just keep them more busy. But in the meantime, you know, spend a little time educating yourself. If I would suggest about the legal, the versus lawful stuff, because when you go into their legal stuff, you're going to just be entrapped. You got to understand the difference of the man, woman versus personhood, corporations. So start doing some homework on that stuff. There's few people that teach it properly, I guess, if you want the word I want to use. There's a lot of crap out there, just like everything else. Just like everything else. So, and it's just like talking to people about changing their diet, and their body has the ability to heal. It's very difficult and challenging for people to believe they have inalienable rights to do whatever they please, as long as they don't interfere with anybody else, infringe on anybody else's inalienable rights. You know, do no harm. It's actually hard for people to believe that. They go, well, the law says what? That law doesn't apply to man, woman. I'm sorry, that's for friggin' fictions. So it's the same kind of stuff, you know, that we're dealing with this crap. The legalese, man, the rabbit hole's very, very deep. If you go and look up the meanings of words in Black's Law, especially if you can find the old versions. The new versions, they hit a lot of stuff and they changed it. You want to get the old versions and you see the meaning of words and so on and so forth. My goodness gracious. Just a simple word like includes. People, what is this, you know, what's a sentence I can use? For the matter of blah, 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 includes this street and blah, 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 that street and blah, 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 that street and blah, 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 that street. Everybody would think it's all the streets. But includes would only mean the first street. It excludes all the others. That's how you would read it in legalese bullcrap. It's the opposite of what you would, the way we know the definition in English. It's complete opposite. It includes only that, excludes everything else. So when you're reading these contracts, and if you don't know that, you're going to be completely confused. And that's why they tell you need a lawyer to interpret it, because it's another language. It reads like English, sounds like English, but it freaking has nothing to do with English. I'm just giving you one example. In the Highway Traffic Act in British Columbia, the meaning of accident, the actual definition of accident means in their Highway Traffic Act, intentional collision.
Intentional
Intentional.
accident.
Now, you get into an accident, cop comes to your window, it was an accident. What did you just admit? It's your fault. It's intentional. It's fucking, sorry, it's twisted serpentine bullcrap. You know, when we were looking into this stuff, it just, is this for real? And then you start doing the research and you start looking up the definitions and you go, my goodness gracious. No wonder everything's so screwed up. And there it goes on and on and on with stuff like that. It's just endless. So,
But if you have a list, like you were talking about inclusion and the first, and then like you have a list of comma separated entries, right? Like in computer science. So, but the first part of the sentence is the modifier, and then you say includes the first entry, comma. But then there's no modifier for the rest of the entries in the sentence, and then the last one takes an and, right? So what's modifying the rest of the sentence? I mean, I'm asking you. I don't.
the grammar stuff that I'm not one to ask, but start doing the research in the meanings of the legal terminology of the words. You know, for example, includes. Go into the Black's Law and look them up. And when they're the structures of how they rate in legalese, I'm not sure if it's based on the same grammar principles as English. I'm not sure about that. I think there's little differences to keep
It's
us
like
more confused. But, you know,
it's like secret fraternity stuff.
exactly. You need a lawyer to interpret. So, you know, when you start reading all this stuff and then you start reading it, you have to consciously think differently than when you're just reading plain English, and you're going to get a different meaning than what you thought it was. That's for sure. So, you know, people get in legal letters from lawyers and so on and so forth. And some, you know, you read, it's the same thing with medical terminology. There's no difference. When doctor talks to somebody, do you know what the frick they're talking about? No, can you speak in English? And then they'll repeat it because they use words that you have no clue. It's a fraternity for the medical association. The legal system is the same thing. There's no difference. No difference. They have their own meanings of words, their own words, and you know, even though the words look and sound the same as English, they're different meanings. And there's a lot of stuff like that. A lot.
But in the medical community, you know, originally it wasn't meant to deceive.
Yeah, well,
Like to use technical words, the meaning wasn't for deception, right? I mean, in the legal world, I can see it meaning, you know, purposes of deception.
what's happening now? It's medical tyranny, man.
Now, yeah, now it's
Taking over the whole freaking planet. It's interesting.
it's like it reminds me of like Masonic code.
Yeah.
You know, like things are only meant for certain people to understand.
Yeah. So let's elevate these souls and continue to elevate them. I truly believe all this stuff is going to be brought down because they can't hide this stuff anymore. I used to have all those Black's Laws dictionaries, 1, 2, 3, 4. I used to have a bunch of them. Like my old hard drive freaking crashed, And actually, I have the hard drive. I've had it trying to get repaired, trying to get it recovered for I don't know how long it's been now. Maybe 7, 8 months. I just messaged the guy the other day. Where's freaking my hard drive? I don't think they're able to retrieve the information. But anyway, I had all kinds of stuff from over the years, all kinds in that hard drive. I guess I lost it all. It's all freaking information that just brings us to more confusion anyway. It's meant to happen. You got to get things into basic simplicity, the structures of principles of nature and the universe. Stick to that. And you can't go wrong. Never, never, ever, ever. You're going to go wrong when you stick to the basic principles of creation in nature and the universe. Never go wrong. You'll always be on track. You know, look at all these freaking scientific explanations of what's going on. There's right now, it's just, there's all kinds of them. Which one's correct? None of them. Absolutely.
Designed that way. It's all designed that way.
It's all about the
You
terrain.
come out with different, every day it's a different thing, and tomorrow it contradicts it. It's meant to keep everybody in a state of confusion. That's part of the design.
Yep, it's all about the terrain, man. Always, always about the environment. And people actually believe that, you know, you're going to get sick from, you know, somebody else being sick. Okay. It's just the fields of that thought process will make you sick. You don't need the physicality. And, you know, I was one that growing up, I was always the first to get sick. I see somebody sick, man, boom, I'd be sick. So, you know, change the belief system and you will change the outcome. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time to, you know, reprogram ourselves through the experiences. And little by little, we come to that new understanding and we start seeing the profound changes when we change our belief system and our, you know, our lifestyle for sure, because that's part of it. And we can see the difference. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing to be in that state. Hey, Tommy. Barbara's joined us, and Tatiana. So yeah, guys, it's very interesting times. We're all going through challenges in some way, shape, or form, and all is well. Stay focused. Continue, you know, your fasting states, because that's what it's all about. It gets difficult in times where we are absorbing the fields of all this stressed energy, and you know, it's the energies of the planet, but also all the stresses of all the people that have been without work, and maybe some of them have lost their businesses, and maybe some of them are having a hard time getting by, and so on and so forth. So we're picking up all these fields. We're picking them all up, and you know, it's been dragging on for a few months, and we're all going to feel that. So when we feel that, we need to consciously understand what it is and raise our fields and just send out plaf. Just send it out. And best times are 432, because it's a carrier wave. It doesn't need any time space, so it's instantaneous. Believe it or not, it works.
The time of day. You mean the time of day?
I used always 432. 4:32 a.m., 4:32 p.m., either one or both. You know, like we've been sharing, I made posts in the past about, you know, for 9 seconds a day, at 4:32 a.m. or p.m. of your time, doesn't matter what time zone, it's just as long as you tap into that 4:32, it's a beautiful instantaneous carrier wave. And just spend those 9 seconds tapping in, sending out cloud. Doesn't cost us anything to do that. I have an alarm on my phone for 4:32 every day, so I can get reminded. It costs us nothing. You know, you know,
Keeps the resentments away.
yeah. Whether we believe it or not, do it anyway. It's 9 seconds a day. 9 seconds.
May not help out there, but it helps in here.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I've had that on my alarm for I don't know how many years. It's because, you know, of all the experiments we were doing approximately 13 years ago or so, and what we discovered with this 4:32, it was just profound, and powerful. Something so simple, and what is it? It's just tapping into the tone of nature in the universe, of this universe. That's all you're doing is tapping into that tone of creation. So a lot of people won't believe it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was watching this very interesting like new age video with 432. You know, what do they call it? Biurnal.
Oh,
You
binaural.
know, like so,
There's no binaural beats in nature.
but it was 432.
Yeah.
You know, it was beautiful, and the video was very interesting. It was all computer generated, and I was sitting there watching it and focusing on, like, they had a center point. It was like a mandala, the center of the video, and my hands. I was lying down on my back with the phone up above me, watching it, and my hands were so steady holding the phone, and I was just in this zone. Like I was watching it and I was so incredibly relaxed, and I was looking at my hands, and for a very long period of time my hands were like rock solid, steady, holding the phone. And I was like, yeah, this is very relaxing, you know. Hey, I wanted to ask you, Gino, like what do the Kesh people say? Like if you're talking about the big picture and you're talking about you know, the other side of the coin, if you're talking about peace, balance, and correct conduct, what about, do they have anything to say about the existence of evil, or whether something called evil even exists? I mean, what do they say about the evil of the world? Or, I mean,
That's done through um, the greed of man.
sorry?
Through the greed of man, right? Of individuals that decide that, um, you know, they are above the law of creation, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember him saying anything about evil as far as devil and this and that. Like, it's the evil entities would be energies of the effects of that came through people in the matter state. And why do people choose to go against? It's based on greed. What else is it? I don't know. I don't
Okay,
have.
so it's not something that's considered formally, like with them. They don't have any like formal sort of take on it.
I don't remember exactly the detail of how they put it, but go on one of the live calls and ask the question. It's there's 7 billion different definitions of evil on this planet. 7 billion plus. Some people believe in heaven and hell and the devil, and some people don't believe, and some people don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
You know, but they believe in a virus they can't see. Same people who believe in nothing. So it gets interesting. It's really interesting.
I have a good friend who swears he's an atheist. He's interested, fascinating to talk to about these things. And he's elderly now. He's going to be 83 this year. So
Well,
joke with him. I said, you better start hedging your bet. You're getting close. It's been a running joke for the last 10 years. But I said, what do you think happens when you die? He said, what happens when you step on a book? It ceases to exist. I said, really? That's what you believe? Yeah, that's what I believe. Oh. Okay.
yeah, you know, we got the benevolent and the malevolent beings. You know, what happens to somebody, you know, in this realm that, you know, kills people and so on and so forth? What happens when they go to the other side? Well,
Interesting.
yeah, I remember Kesh mentioning about how these souls, they get placed in, it's like a zoo. Oh, sorry, the zoo is the place for the elites. You know, how the zoos pick the best of the animals and they display them. So there's like a zoo for all these elites to be put into until they find their balance. You know, for the really whacked out, complete imbalanced people that do things that are complete opposite of peace, balance, square conduct. I remember him stating that these souls get scattered throughout the universe in gazillions of pieces until they can find balance again to return to oneself, something like that. And
I can live with that one.
sorry?
I can live with that one.
Yeah. It's because, you know, at the end of the day, if we understand how and what creation is, the basics of it, we all come from that, so we can't be separate from it. So these severely imbalanced souls, people, let's call them people, you know, they need to find balance, because the way the structure of the universe works and continues to work, and has always done and has always worked like this, otherwise it wouldn't exist, is always moving towards balance, or it would self-destruct. So that's the concept of why they probably scatter themselves when they jump the fence into these, you know, into the other realm. They leave the physicality and they scatter, because there's such an imbalanced state. They have to find balance again, and once it's scattered into these gazillion pieces, all the energies slowly but surely start feeding these to bring them back to balance, and then eventually it finds its balance again, something like that. You know, and you know, it sounds logical to me, if the word we want to use. It's not, it doesn't sound biblical like we've been indoctrinated. It's logical. You know, things need to find balance, and they have to run in balance or they would not continue. The universe could not function if it did not maintain balance. How we can talk to a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and they'll understand that, right? But you talk to anybody else and they're going to come at you with, depending what they've been growing up with, right? So that's the whole thing. And, you know, I don't have all the answers. I don't know, but I have to look at things in as much of a logic state as I possibly can, because anything else doesn't make sense to me. Anything by force does not make sense to me. It works against the principles of creation. Anything by force. Creation cannot force. It doesn't work. doesn't work. There's nothing against, what everybody's doing out there and all that. Just everything's got good sides, but anytime you force, there's a problem, and there's big imbalances that happen with force. Look what's happening now. Suicide rates skyrocketed. Because what's happening? They're forcing frickin' the whole planet to do things they don't want to do. And the outcome is what we're getting right now. So, I'm a big advocate of inalienable rights and freedom of choice, as long as we do not infringe on anybody else. It's simple. Simple. Don't need police or any of that stuff if you stick to that principles, Peace officers, the original what peace officers were supposed to do versus policing is two different things. Police is by force. Peace officers are there to keep the peace, right? It's a big difference. I remember at one of my aunt's place, she was renting the basement, and the woman didn't stop paying, and she wanted to get her out, and there's a big process here. So I tried to go there to help, and I called the cops to, say, we've given her notice to leave. She's trespassing, and they came over. And when they came over, of course, the woman wasn't there. And I'm going, talking to them and so on and so forth. I go, you guys peace officers? And it was the woman, no, police. I'm going, I called the peace officer. I didn't call police. No, we're the police. Big egos. And you can't deal with that crap. Can't deal with that crap. So what do you got to do? You got to educate even the cops, right? I don't know.
Sure.
It's interesting. Some people get it. Police they know the difference. And if you look at the cop cars, they have a symbol. What do you call it? Crescent, and it's got a book, an open book, and the book has nothing written in it. Right? One of my friends asked the cop, so, what does that mean? He goes, well, it's the book of knowledge. And my friend asks, how come there's nothing in it? And he didn't have any answer for that. Because it's not the book of knowledge, it's the book of control. It's nothing to do with knowledge. And, we know about the frequencies they use in policing. It agitates them. They're radio frequencies that they use. Like, come on, man. There's that English fellow, Barry something, who goes in depth about all that stuff. It's on YouTube. Very interesting. And he talked about our cell phones, our wonderful cell phones.
Yeah.
He said, if the government was going to tell you that they were going to give you something to spy on you, and it would do this, this, and that, would you agree to it? Absolutely not. So what did they do? They created a phone, right? They made you pay for it, and they're doing exactly that. How brilliant is that? And that's exactly what this is. It's a spy device. We all are using them now. We've all fell into that trap. But they are exactly spy devices. Google installed COVID app in here without my knowledge. I have to turn it off. You don't think they can spy with these things? Yeah, they sure can. Go on YouTube and look how people, took all information from people very easily without their knowledge. Tape them, recorded them, videoed them, can turn on and off the cameras. So all kinds of stuff. We're in a really interesting time with all this technology, and if it's up to Mr. Gates, you know, we'd all be chipped, tracked, just like cattle. So he can make his become the first trillionaire. Right? It's all about greed. All about greed. Somebody who wasn't even elected by the people is out there dictating to what's supposed to happen on the whole planet. Isn't that interesting? That somebody like that is even allowed to speak. Watch the court case when he was in court with Microsoft, how he was talking. He's full of shit. Just listen to them when he was being, what do you call it? In court, when you're in court there.
Deposed.
Sorry?
Deposed.
Yeah. Yeah, this I don't know, it's many, many, many hours long. I watched a little bit. I can't watch this anymore. He was trying to take over the world with computers. So now he found an easier way.
You know what, Gino? What's ironic about Bill Gates is, let's say he achieves everything he wants to achieve tomorrow, right? He's still operating according to whatever law of man is in his mind. But he's not going to win against the law of nature.
Impossibility.
Absolutely impossible. So even if he achieves everything he wants to achieve tomorrow, he's still doomed to fail. And what's, and I mean, just like all of us have encountered, just trying, whatever struggles we went through for, dealing with emotion in MFS, which is what we all end up encountering, he still has that journey ahead of him. If he faces reality and chooses to go down that path, which I don't have a lot of hope for him that he will, but that's still in front of him. And it's either, it reminds me of the strategy of the Bushmen in Africa. Like, in the open savanna, every once in a while, a wildfire will start to burn across the land. And the Bushman knows that when the fire starts, you have to run ahead of the fire and burn a circle. And once that circle burns, you stand inside of that circle. And as the fire comes, the fire won't affect you. And those of us who recognize the law of nature, we start that fire. We start that journey. We put ourselves on that journey knowing that the law of nature is something that we cannot escape. And it's something that Bill Gates cannot escape. But he's not willing to start that journey on his own. And, I mean, I don't like what he's doing, but at the end of the day, I can still send him 9 seconds worth of plasma love,
Elevator slow. He's not gonna. I can't see him gonna be getting away with what they have planned. I can't see it. Too many people are waking up. Too many people are coming forward.
You didn't see the planet get locked on either, did you?
No, I know, but
Don't underestimate these sons of bitches. Don't underestimate them. They're winning right now.
That's what it seems like. But we have to have the faith in the higher powers, and like I said, right now, energetically, we are. We can call it a disadvantage. I don't know at this time right now, but tables are going to turn with the energies, and more and more of their caca is going to be revealed, as it has been with like all the pedophile arrests and so on and so forth, and all the other stuff that's been going on. Those torture chambers in Denmark, did you see those?
Oh yeah, I think I saw some.
Some arrests there. They were using shipping containers, and inside these shipping containers there was like a barber's chair with a way to strap down somebody in the chair, and then they had all kinds of tools, like pruning tools and drills and so on and so forth. They had, I don't remember, it was 5 or 10 of these chambers that they found. Just insanity that this stuff, never mind that it goes on, that somebody could even implement the thought of doing these things. You know, so this is a good sign of what's been happening, man. It's awesome. So I don't know what the whole story is out there, Steve and my friends, and but
I was a little more optimistic at the beginning of it, to be honest with you. Not so optimistic.
yeah, it's tough because of everything that's going on. Like right now, the death rate is almost nothing, and they implemented these masks. What the hell's going on at the end of the thing? Whatever they believe it is, it's okay. It is what it is. It is what it is. We are having a ball of our lives. Who would have ever thought something like this would happen, you know?
It's fear.
Yeah.
It's just fear.
Yeah. False evidence appearing real, and once they get us people in that fearful state, they can do anything they want. So how do we rise up out of that state? Well, you know, live a fasting lifestyle, continue through the art of subtraction, keep your field strength up, stay connected to nature, stick around and speak with people who are like-minded, etc., etc., etc. Basically, what we're doing, living a master fasting lifestyle. You know, we're gonna be affected by everything going on. Of course, we're all being affected. How can't we be? It's affected every aspect of all our lives. No matter where you turn, we're being affected by the things that have been happening. So, hello, Hans. So we got to stay focused, folks, and continue elevating these souls. Whether you believe it or not, it works. Just continue. Put your heart into it, and see it. See that these people will be forced through their soul to change their ways in the direction of peace, balance, correct conduct. That's all we got to focus on. That's it. And it has to come to be, no matter how difficult it is to believe right now because of everything going on. It has to come to be. No matter how many decades they've been planning for this crap, doesn't mean anything. When you work with the higher order, they can't compete. We have to look at it that way, because that's a fact. Because let's put another scenario. An earthquake can take out how many people, you know, instantaneously, or a tsunami or whatever. These are the wonders of higher order, to clean up. If it has to be, there's ways that, you know, it will come into play if there's enough of emotion and intent into the path to these powers of be, whatever powers that want to be. It has to take place. That's the way I see it. It has to. No matter how bleak and glim it looks right now, it has to make a shift. Has to. So that's the way I see it. Any thoughts and feelings about what you guys see and feel? You know? Master fasting. It's simple. There's not much thought process to do it once you understand the structure of it. Bang, 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 bang. We have our healing reactions we deal with, and away we go. But the essence of soul, the essence of comes through higher order. That's where all the power is at, and it's not by force. It's just the structure of creation. It doesn't need to use force. Creation does not work by force. It works through harmony, right? Force and harmony is two complete different things. There's a book called Power vs. Force by David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins. And he goes through some scenarios of that. I read it many years ago. He was the one who, through muscle testing, found a way to basically test people's, it's kind of like a field strength. And it went from 0 to 1,000. And 1,000, I believe, was enlightenment, which would be like Christ. And then there was different levels. I think he said like Mother Teresa was somewhere around 700. There's charts. I've shared these charts before. And grief is way, 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 way down. If you're grieving over somebody, it's a very low field strength to be in. You do not want to be in a grieving state. Very low field strength. So, sadness, anger, and so on. Grief was very low. I don't remember what was the lowest, but grief was very low. Anger and so on and so forth. Fear. Like 200 and below, I believe it was disempowering, which robs you. And when you raise your field strength over to 200, it's empowering and it elevates you. So we always want to be consciously, through the heart, putting ourselves in that state of raising our fields. And we practice it and practice it and practice it till it becomes a normal thing where consciously it's always there. We're always thinking about it, just like we're doing with master fasting or we're doing with a Buteyko type breathing. At the beginning, you have to sit down and think about a time to start doing your breath work and so on and so forth. And as time goes on, you're doing the controlled pauses throughout the day because you put that intent and emotion to make it part of your lifestyle. So you're continuously implementing it. So it becomes second nature kind of thing. No different. The more we practice, the better we become at things and the more we are conscious about it.
Gino, it's interesting you mentioned how grief is such a low vibration or just a low field strength because, that's one of the things that I feel was a big part of, that was a big emotion that came up, especially trying to find balance with food after the fasting state because, for a lot of years dealing with depressive symptoms, depression or whatever, you can, we anchor a lot of these field states to certain emotions or we use certain words to describe these field strengths.
Yeah.
And, once I found a lot of those emotions evaporated during during the fasting state, I recognized that, I literally cured my depression. And then, of course, falling off the wagon kind of hard and going back to some of the old habits, behaviors, foods, whatever. And then I started feeling that depression again. And it's like now before I felt it was it happened to me, you know, it didn't happen to me by choice. And now, you know, when I found myself dealing with some of the old foods out of the old fasting states, um, it was by choice. I'm choosing to eat these things. I'm choosing to, you know, go back to these behaviors. I'm choosing. And so now it's, you know, I no longer have an excuse, but through all of that, I saw, you know, it's, at the end of the day, like what does a child do when they can't have something they want? They pout about it. You know what I'm saying? They're pouting. It's like, I want this, but you know, something is not allowing me to have it. And I feel that, you know, what a lot of people call grief is, you know, they're faced with a new reality. They're faced with the chance of experiencing a higher field strength, and they can't let go of what they experienced before. They want to hold on to it, but they are having a hard time letting that go. And I can see why grief, you know, it seems to stand to reason, you know, judging by my own experience, why grief would be such a low field strength, why the energy around grief is so weak, because you know, you have all the, you know, people complain about why their life isn't where they want it to be, but there are all these things that they are choosing to hold on to that they won't let go when there's a greater field strength, there's a better way of being that's available to them if they make that choice. And, you know, I think that's one of the biggest, I mean, I recall struggling with that, you know, as a child. You know, my father always accused me of having a chip on my shoulder because there were these things that I wanted to hold on to and I wasn't willing to let go of. And it's funny because that's how the energy works in our body, you know, as we become a lot more conscious of these higher field strengths, you know, where, you know, the energy gets held up in different ways inside of our body that we need to release.
Right.
And it's hilarious to me, and it's completely ironic because I have this lymph node on my shoulder that's swollen, and it looks like a chip on my shoulder. It literally, it literally looks like I'm feeling it right now. There's all this energy held up because for so many years I've just held on to that energy and refused to let it go. But I refuse by choice, you know? So I have no excuse. I can't blame it on anybody. I can't blame it on the circumstances around me. I can't blame it on something going on in the world. It's me, you know? It's the man in the mirror that I'm in competition with, that I'm competing with, that I'm battling with every day. But, you know, that's all it is. It's a choice. And, you know, even when we feel a lot of these emotions bubbling up to the surface, you know, as we're confronted by the mirror of truth in the fasting state, it's, you know, it's it's comical to me that, I mean, even though I'm still going through it, you know, even though it's still something that I don't feel I've completely overcome, I'm starting to see more and more of it. And I know on the other side, you know, forgiving myself for holding on to these energies, these low vibrations for so long, you start to see it everywhere. You know, you start to see so many people dealing with it and going through it, and you know that they have a choice, but at the same time, you know that they don't have the courage to stand in front of the mirror of truth long enough to recognize who they are and what they're doing to themselves. It's amazing to see so many people out here doing that.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's you know, the grief. If we look at grief again, let's look at it. Um, what what goes through our minds like that? You know, when somebody close to us passes away, there's kind of a selfishness in there. If you look at it, you know, and that's probably what the weakness is. Instead of being happy for the person to, you know, soar throughout all the universes, you know, it's time that, you know, they moved up and they elevated into a different realm. So there's probably some of that is why it's such a low field strength. We're selfish. You know, we're going to be missing that person instead of being happy that they're free. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I'm just throwing some thoughts out there. If you have anything else, but it's very interesting. You know, he was. You know, a lot of people say he's a quack and everything, but he had some very interesting things and concepts and ideas. And he believed that the muscle testing, the way he did it, was 100% accurate. You know, he said, you know, if you do it correctly, you don't need to have witnesses, this, and that for like murder trials. You can do it, be 100% accurate through muscle testing. That's what he believed. Yeah. If you go, he's got lots of videos and stuff. He talked about this stuff. So that was an interesting concept. But you need to be practicing at it just like anything else, I would assume. You know, but what is muscle testing? You know, what is it? You're tapping into the fields of the truth of the being. That's all you're doing. So if you can tap into that, why wouldn't it be 100% accurate? You know, why wouldn't it be? It makes kind of sense to me. David Hawkins, interesting fellow. So I don't know if I have that chart anywhere. I think I had it on my old hard drive, but if anybody can pull it up, either search for it in the group or online. We can go through some of those emotions and see where levels they were at. That's what I remember from my memory. It's the 200 mark is the mark you want to be above. And you would muscle test people to see what level they were at. I mean, you can call them a level or anything, but it's just, I think it's, you know, the lower the field strength is probably because we've been more susceptible to being programmed, moving away from, you know, creation, which is all knowledge and, you know, complete balance. So it's very interesting.
Can you hear me, Gino?
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about field strength, you see, I've been a week here now out at Broken Hill, which is right in the outback. And you can see here, for instance, there's an olive. I'm in the schoolyard where my son teaches. There's an olive orchard here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And on the way out here, you know, you drive through outback, you know, real outback, nothing there. But it's very green because they had a bit of rain and all this and everything. And just the feel, the aura that hits you is just astonishing. And see, for me, it was always the question in our society, in the way that we live, what are we connecting to? Sitting in our houses, in our civilized setups, how do you get connection? How do you find field strength? How do you find feel to nature?
Right.
And out here, even last night, we went to Mundi, which is a plain, and there was a sunset, and it was just absolutely, it takes your breath away when you see this and when you feel this. Also yesterday, I went to a guy, he's the science teacher here. He's got a mineral and crystal collection, you know, in his home. And it just blows you away just walking into it, and just what, you know, like how much you can gain if you open your channels, or if your channels are open for it. But a lot of times we, as I said, as we know, with eating and obstructing, we're clogged up to that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that when I drove out here, that we listened to an ebook from Bruce Pascoe. It was called The Dark Emu. And he put a book together in 2014 with literature from first settlers and first fleet people that took note what was on this continent. So he did that on based on what people wrote down, English people wrote down. And when you see how the indigenous people here have lived and what they had in place, which is not mentioned in any way or form or shape in any school book or in any white man history, and it's just absolutely astonishing when you see what they did and what they had in fishery, game hunting, spirituality, housing, because everybody thinks they were just hunter-gatherers and they were just living in, half naked and running around the continent. That was not the case. See, I mean, there was the case in certain when tribes went on their walkabout, but the amount of time that they devoted themselves to spirituality, to be in nature, with nature, and not doing anything, just doing that, then you can see how far behind we as a society, how far are we away. And then people say, but we're living longer today. Well, why would you want to live longer in the condition that you're in? Why wouldn't you want to go when nature calls you? And when the call is up, the call's up. But at the time for all of that, you're in complete, or in better connection than what we are in our society today, being locked away with the stupid virus trying to hunt us and killing the whole of society off, as we spin this story. And that was just came so far to me, and it was very, very overwhelming when you could hear on people that were not pro-Aboriginal. They were here to come and get the country, but they took note and drawings and what they wrote down. It gives you a complete different picture, but that doesn't tell you. So for anybody who wants to find, like it's an ebook, as I said, it's called The Dark Emu. It's only $10 or so. You will not be, you have no idea what we ignore and what we just don't want to know is true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I really, really felt very strong about. And then being, as I said, so much more here. I'm in the city, but you go out 3 minutes drive and you're out in surrounded by nothing, just by nature. And as I said, it's just altogether a different feel, a different, But it's all about how much are you open to it and how much can you actually live with it. Because see, the only references or what we always live by is references that we establish within ourselves. But my last 58 years, I have referenced society, man's fantasy. Everything is backed up on that. How much is backed up on just be here? Just, remember Alan Watts, the meaning of life is just to be alive. And how often are we doing this, and how often should we be doing this? And you can exchange as much as you like, but until you don't actually do it yourself and find that yourself, how do you know? How can you get references? How can you build an opinion if you never do it? That's just and then also we get far too much into the deep. Remember overthinking it? Why? What for? Just let it happen, and just think about when you meditate. You just do it, and you just can do it for long times. You just with it. Same thing here, but it channels to nature. That's what I found, very overwhelming over the last. It's just coming out here, and in particular, reading or listening to a guy that then, of course, he then put his own interpretation in what was existing, what animal farming. It's just the fish farming that they did and fish hunting that they did. So it was so profound, and even the white men commented all the time how everything was aesthetic pleasing. So everything they had, all structures, everything they built pleased the eye, it fit within. Look in the city, how aesthetic is the city? How aesthetic is a skyscraper? And you look around in nature, And I'm just saying just the differences, and that's where, you have to be more, we have to draw ourselves more into, as I said, into people that have lived and live in nature to learn of that or to experience that, because you ain't getting it in a town hall, that's for sure, Yeah, so that was just my little break. As well as when you see, I was building some trailers as well. So yeah, it was a hard week, but yeah. So talking about connection, yeah, I found my other little piece here again for a while, but it's something that you really got to build up on. And as it's, to me, it is very clear you got to get away out of the city, because what's available out here is not available in the city. It's as simple as that. Doesn't matter what you want to do.
Just if you just think about these structures that are the way they're built, the houses and buildings and so on, they're all under stress. Built. You know, if you look at the old architectures of mosques and churches and so on and so forth, if you look at the way they're built with the domes and so on and so forth, there's a different feeling in those buildings because they're not built on stress patterns. Engineering, it's totally different, you know. That's a whole other topic. Thanks, Tatiana, for bringing up the map of consciousness developed by David Hawkins. You know, the Aboriginals, man, so much of that stuff has been lost, and you know, anything you can connect with that, it will be a blessing to be exposed to their understanding and way of life, because it's all peace, balance, and correct conduct for the most part.
Absolutely. I mean, look, as you said, they found structures, dome structures, which held 30 to 40 people could live in there. Think about it. And that was only built out of reeds and clay and grass and this, but they were fully sheltered. They even had mosquito traps. They had water traps. They had everything. Everything was there. There was everything there because, I mean, as it points out, you know, like these people have been here for tens of thousands of years.
Exactly.
And in that way, think about it. If you and think how little they have destroyed. They didn't destroy anything. They just lived within. And you can say, oh, this is uncivilized, but this is, for me, this is what civilized living should be: living and not destroying, and working within, because they had agriculture in place. And as I said, that wasn't Bruce making that up. That was writings that came from people that were there and looked at it and saw it. Because the white settlers brought in straight away the sheep and the cattle, and they trampled everything down. They had grass fields that were there for thousands of years, and within 2 or 3 seasons, it was all gone, because with their hoofs, they're not natives here. They just trampled everything and compacted everything, destroyed the whole lot. And the natives just shook their heads and could do nothing about it. You know what I mean? Like, the white man wasn't coming here to ask, can we be with you? That was the other way around. So I'm just saying, I know that's in dispute and people go all about, like when you hear the critics, you know, like it just amazes me how much people are in denial of things. They just don't want to know about it. They don't tell them anything. It's unscientific. There's no proof for all of this. And all he did was taking papers for people that had written it down. Of course, he put a bit of his own inspiration into it, but most of it was based on what he was given and found. And not only it's worthwhile listening, and it's worthwhile. At the end, you're looking for yourself. I mean, I don't have to justify anything towards anybody else. Justify to yourself, as Simon said. Just into yourself. That's what you got to do. And when you're not willing to accept the truth, remember, the truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is. That's all it is. And when I hear that, and then somebody says, yeah, but, you know, there's no scientific proof for that. Well, what do you need scientific proof for? Why don't you go out there and see what we do in this planet, and then see what people didn't do with it, and lived here for tens and tens of thousands of years, or even longer? I don't know. It's just, poof. I mean, you have to ask yourself the question, and if people say, this is all rubbish, well, then keep going and put your hamburgers in your head and keep your donuts and just go for it. You know what I mean? Like, don't let me hold you back. But if you want any serious connections, any serious being being on this planet. It's not what we're doing in skyscrapers in the city, that's for sure.
The,
I'll tell you that.
the arrogance of modern science. What do we have here? We have on the bottom of the chart, shame, it's at 20. Associated emotional state, humiliation. View of life, miserable. So that's the lowest on the chart. Then we have guilt, 30, and it's associated emotional states, blame, and view of life, evil. Then we have apathy, 50. Despair is the emotional state, and hopeless is a view of life. So these are all low field strengths. We're still in the low field strengths. And then we have grief, 75. It's way down there, right? Way down, grief. Who would ever thought? And it's a regret and tragic view of life. And then we have fear, which is 100. So all those other ones are below fear even, right? And we have anxiety, emotional, and we have frightening view of life. And then we have desire, desiring things. It's a low field strength, desire. It's interesting. And this emotional is craving, cravings, view of life, disappointing. What do we do when we get cravings and we go after to try and satisfy those cravings through eating? What do we get? Disappointed, right? It's a low field strength because it has nothing to do with peace, balance, correct conduct. It doesn't work. Then we move a little higher into anger. It's 150. Associated emotional state, hate. And then view of life, antagonistic. How do you pronounce that? I don't even know. Anger. We move up into pride, a little higher. Pride, still disempowering, 175. Scorn is the emotional state, demanding, view of life. Then we have courage, and this is the point that is the point where you start balancing on disempowering and empowering, 200. And the emotional states, affirmation, and view of life is feasible. So courage, it's on that borderline. Then we start getting into empowering, which is neutrality. It's 250. The energetic frequency, they call them. I call them field strength. Emotional state, trust. We get in that trust. We start building our field strength, right? And view of life is satisfactory. So when we get in there, we're moving in the direction of peace, balance, correct conduct, according to my understanding and what this chart is all about. So it's very interesting, of what we talked about. And I haven't looked at this in a while, but we've shared it in the past. Then we go up to willingness, 310. Optimism, emotional state, view of life is hopeful. Move up to the next one is acceptance, 350. Acceptance. What do we see when we see people in a state of imbalance physically, that they're in a sick state, or they accepted it, or they are, the emotional state is forgiveness, and the view of life is harmonious. So acceptance. If you have accepted, you're moving in a state of raising your field strength. Not that you have to accept diagnosis from the medical mafia, because that's fiction land. Then we start getting into the higher reason. 400. Emotional state, understanding, view of life, meaningful. Okay, now we're getting, in the higher field strengths. And here we have love. Love is at 500. Emotional state is reverence, and view of life, benign. Then we go into joy, 540. Emotional state, serenity, view of life, complete. So we get into the states of reason, love, and joy. Meaningful, benign, and complete. If we can stay in those states, and the ones below are acceptance, willingness, and neutrality. If you grab these charts, maybe we should all post them in our offices or wherever, somewhere where we can see it. So if we put ourselves in these lower field strength states, we go to the chart and say, no, I'm not gonna stay in that state. I'm gonna move up, because it's up to you, right? It's up to us to make that shift and that change. Nobody else can do it for us. We can support and inspire each other to live in these states of higher field strength. So that's what we're trying to do here. Well, that's what we're doing. Never mind trying. That's what we're doing every week. We're continuously inspiring and supporting each other, so we can maintain some level of sanity in what's happening out there. Because let's look at society and look at this chart. Where's society on this chart? Way, 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 way down, way down. So let's move up. There's two more here. Peace, emotional state of bliss. Peace, balance, correct conduct. Interesting, right? Peace. Correct conduct would go under what? Maybe reason. I don't know. If anybody else wants to comment on that. So we have peace is a blissful state, and view of life is perfect. You can be in a peaceful state all the time. View of life will be perfect. And then we move into the highest, which is enlightenment, and it's from 700 to 1,000 range. It's a big range. I guess there's different levels of field strength within that range, and probably goes to infinity. But he's got it from 20 to 1,000. And the associated emotional state is ineffable, and view of life is, just is. We just are in that state of creation. And we've accepted it. We're in peace, we're in joy, we're in love. There's reason, willingness to continue that state. I mean, it's wonderful. So I think I'm going to print it out after all these years.
You know what I thought was interesting, Gino? The shame is at the very bottom. It's the worst. And so we see guilt there and fear, and those are so much being weaponized right now. And shame, made to feel ashamed if you choose not to, say, wear the mask, and that made to feel shame for putting someone else in danger, right?
Exactly.
Or shame for, feeling, protesting for wanting to get back to work. That's shame is just the worst. And we can also think about that when we interact with people, even like children, when they're being punished, you know, when you're telling them that like this, you personally are incorrect, or made them feel shame, the worst possible state that there is.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
job is not essential. Shame. It's
Yeah.
just, it's crazy. It's like, look, that's
It's the most powerful weapon here.
wow. You know, very interesting. Everything is at the lowest. Guilt, shame, apathy, fear. It's all down there.
Crazy out there.
Desire. You know, just desire. Well,
Yeah, that was surprisingly low.
work. And
Mhm.
that's a low field strength. Interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of just being
Yeah.
in a peaceful state, no matter what. But you know, in this society that we're part of, in the way it's been set up, it's we can call it a form of entrapment. We're all in a form of entrapment. We all need money to have an way of exchanging and, you know, feeding ourselves and whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just crazy. I'm sure you can put a lot of stuff in between all these because there's so many more emotional states, and you get a really nice picture of what's going on now. That's for sure with this chart.
You know, it's interesting, Gino. At the highest stage of enlightenment, it says the view of life is. That's all it says. It is, you know? And obviously, with desire being at a lower field strength, instead of seeing life the way we want it to be, you know, uh, instead of seeing life the way it is, which is what it means to be in harmony with nature, you know, because like you said earlier, you know, nothing in nature is forced. You know, it is like you know, we hear it all the time. It is what it is, you know. But and I know that's obviously a struggle. I mean, you know, when I first learned about MFS, obviously there was a way that I wanted my life to be, and you know, apparently that was according to the chart here. You know, I was very much so in a lower vibration, and I still don't see life the way it is. I still, you know, think about the struggle with emotion that I have, and you know, I don't want it to be that way. But then again, that's just manifesting desire. But I just thought it was fascinating that, you know, at some of the higher levels, you know, and I found the definition of ineffable. It's an adjective to describe things that are too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. Not exactly sure what you know, if anybody has the experience to give us some insight on what that's like, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, for example, you know, what about force? Force, or, you know, that would be on a low field strength for sure, very low. Forcing somebody. So, wow.
Well, that's advertising, isn't it? Shaming people into desiring something that they don't need, you know? Kind of using people's nature against them to, you know, think when people have the desire to have something different than what they have, you know, it's a form of force. When you force people to feel ashamed of what their life looks like,
Right.
comparing it to what other people are experiencing, you know, as opposed to just accepting my life the way it is. And if I know there are some changes I can make, I just exercise the courage and the trust, because that's what it was for me. The very first time, you know, I learned about MFS through an article of somebody who, fasted for over 50 days, and then they did an interview with you.
Oh,
and,
Giovanni, yeah.
yeah, Giovanni, yeah. But it was, after your struggle with your kidneys, and your attitude towards your experience was, wow, that really worked, And it was, to me, at that point, somebody who goes through something that extreme, but still sees the value in their experience. That was what spoke the loudest to me, and it put me in that vibration of trust. And then, of course, obviously, I had my own things that I had to confront in order to, I was confronted by the mirror of truth. What am I willing to give up? Am I willing to embrace, the reality that less is more? But I experienced the field strength of trust, and that's what started me on this journey.
Trust is, that's where it starts. To be on this higher field strength of empowering instead of disempowering. I guess courage is that balancing point. So we need the courage to trust, and we start moving up, which is very powerful. But just imagine, think about children talking, parents talking to their children, shame on you.
Right.
Bringing complete down in disempowering, as you were saying. My goodness gracious.
We think we are.
What have we done to ourselves?
Yeah. We think we're, a parent wants to teach a child what is right, what is wrong.
Wow.
And this is often the way we do it, right? Through the words. So, yeah, something to think about. I remember reading, Hans was talking about native approaches. I remember reading about a tribe that when a member did something wrong or had hurt someone or took something that wasn't theirs, they would be called into like the village ritual space, come to the center. Everyone would gather around him and tell him what is good about him.
Oh yeah.
You've probably seen it. What is good about him and all the great things he's done, to remind him that his nature is good and to come back to that nature.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They were much. We have a much unlearning to do and catching up. Yeah.
We've gone completely in the opposite direction as society, civilized society. Like parents don't get schooled how to raise children. I don't know if the school is the terminology.
It's the most difficult job.
Yeah.
God tell parents.
What do most parents do now? They send them off to daycares and school. They don't do anything.
Yeah, that's a big part of what's going on. Like this, sending kids away. Like kids spend more time with like people their age, and adults that maybe not as attentive. But in a tribe, they would have so many adult role models, people to like interact with in their lives all the time, different ones, not just their parents. Yeah, it's interesting. MFS has got me going way up on this chart.
Awesome.
Amazing.
It's so easy to be drawn down in the lower levels if you just with everything going on and how people interact in societies and families and friends. Just think.
Up your energy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we are in that place of trust and able to keep our field strength up, we're going to be drawn down all the time. And guess what? It's one day, oh, you got cancer, or you got this, or you got that. What else is going to be the outcome when you're always down there? Be anything good.
just so grateful for the fasting experience.
What did you say?
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the fasting experience. For I'm
Grateful.
journey.
Grateful.
So grateful.
That's powerful. But that's what you were talking about earlier. I mean, you didn't say it exactly, but like when you were talking about what a tribe does with somebody who transgress in one form or the other, and people surround them and tell them what's good about them, you know, that's a form. You know, when you point out, not to, I mean, you know, we can talk about, you know, the fact that gratitude, when we exercise gratitude, it's a form of acceptance. You know, I look at my circumstances right now and I can find what I can be grateful for about it. And I accept what I have, and I don't desire to change what I have, because what am I going to do? Am I going to stress myself out? Am I going to, you know, push myself to the limit to try to make my life look like what I think it should look like, instead of just accepting what I have and being grateful for what I have, you know? And gratitude, I know for a fact, gratitude has brought me to where I am right now in this life, by accepting what I have and knowing what I can do with it, and just taking one progressive step after another, you know. And that's how, you know, that's been one of the most powerful forces in my life. I think that's, you know, I think that's when you accept life as it is. And like I was alluding to, you know, that one state of enlightenment at, you know, at the higher 700 to 1,000 field strength. You know, gratitude will lift your field strength. So many people take that for granted. They really do. They really, really do. And it's just, you know, even with the crazy things going on around us, I've noticed for a fact, I've been really grateful for the fact that so many people, when you're in isolation, all you have to do, the only people you have, whether it's, you might be, you know, quarantined or in lockdown with family, but even for me, like as a single guy, I have roommates, but they have their space and I have my space. And, you know, you're confronted with the mirror of truth every day. Every day. It's just you. What are you going to do with this time that you have? What are you going to do? You know, and I look around and look at my circumstances, and all I could do was be grateful. You know, that this is where I am. This is what I can do. You know, that's, it's an opportunity. I can be grateful for, you know, for whatever this coronavirus has brought on humanity, because it's given me the opportunity to just be grateful for what I have and where I'm at, and expressing that to other people. I've been able to help people raise their field strength, you know, talking with family over the phone or talking with friends. I had a friend of mine that I hadn't spoken with in easily 20 years, and he shared his experience and I shared my experience, and all we could do was be grateful. And, you know, I think you might have mentioned it before, Gino, where when you raise your field strength, the people around you begin to elevate theirs as well. And the more interactions that I've been able to have, and there have been some people that obviously were going through their own thing and were very resistant to, you know, being grateful, but I can't do anything about that. Send some plasma love their way, and when I am in conversation with them, just bring the conversation to a place where, you know, it's like, you know what you have available to you. What are you going to do with it? What options do you have? You know, and the best thing you can do is just that gratitude. I like what you said, Tatiana. That was a positive trigger. You know, I felt triggered when you said gratitude, but it was very, it's very positive. I like that. I am very grateful for the MFS family. You know, you too, Steve. You're not saying a lot, but you too.
I'm just meditating.
Long day. I'm going all day.
Gardening?
It's been a long day. I've been going all day.
Awesome.
No problem.
Yeah, I think there may be a church with more.
There's a few on it.
But anyway, it's like grateful and stuff like that. I think there was, but anyway, it's a long time
In
now.
AA, we say a grateful heart won't drink.
Won't drink?
Won't drink.
Yeah.
You have to live in a state of gratitude.
Well, if you're state of gratitude, you're up in that, joy, love, peace. I guess it's intertwined up in those areas. But yeah, interesting, eh?
Very interesting.
Mhm.
You look at them, the emotions and field strengths kind of way. Wow. All right. So, do we want to call a night? Do a little meditation? Anybody wants to stick around? We can do that. Just give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Steve, what was that again? A grateful heart won't drink?
Won't drink.
I'm so glad I got on the call tonight. I needed that. That was the one thing. I'm serious.
I'm
I
glad you.
cannot even tell you. I am so serious. I am so serious. I mean, you can replace drink with anything. You know what I'm
Oh, yeah,
saying?
absolutely. I just, I've been in AA for 24 years, so that's where I learned all this stuff.
My goodness. I have never heard that before in my life. Oh my God.
Love it.
It's funny, when somebody decides to go out and drink again, everything happens in reverse. What got them to get to the state of sobriety just starts reversing, right? And one of the first things to go is gratitude.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Deadly, but fascinating to witness. I've witnessed a lot of it. I've witnessed a lot of deaths. It's a deadly, deadly thing that we're dealing with in there.
You mean through the AA?
There's been, not so much now because there's no in-person meeting, leading up to the time before everything shut down. Oh, in the last 4 or 5 years, there's been so many people going back out drinking, start picking up stuff. And I mean long-term, 18, 20 years sober.
Wow.
And the scary, frightening thing about it is, I was 37 when I put the drink and the drug down. But in the body, it's as if I'd never stopped. So if I decide to pick up today, all that time, it's like I've been still doing it. So, and they go quick because the mind thinks it can do what it did. So it picks up where it thinks it left off, but that's not what the body does. So I mean, people are gone in usually less than a year. They're dead if they don't make it back. And shame and remorse keeps them out.
Mm.
There you go.
But yeah, today. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say this. No, go
Today
ahead.
we learned that the gratefulness dissolves the shame. That's what the tribe used, right? Yeah. I think we can do that to ourselves.
Addictions are a powerful thing, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's not just the physical.
Mm.
The physical is nothing. Physical is absolutely nothing. It's all the mental freaking battles that go with it. They are battles on a daily basis. There's not a person I know that's been sober for a long time that does not go through daily battle. It never stops. It quiets, but it never stops.
Mm. Mm.
And that's the power of addiction.
Very interesting. Where do we want to be?
It's time to start fasting. I ate too much again this week. Too many days, more days than fasting. Again, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh yeah.
And you feel the effects.
Oh, bad.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable anymore. Not comfortable at all.
It's,
And I get very little physical. Very little in the physical. It's all mental. It's just not a.
well,
I get cloudy. Everything gets cloudy. Nothing's as clear.
yeah, you're watching people eat and you're going, holy mackerel. It's interesting, that's for sure. Now with many restaurants going under.
Mm.
So
It's terrible. I mean, it could be good, but
And with
not that way.
family not so effective.
my daughter was picking orders at the grocery store for people who order online.
Yeah.
And she was just saying, people just order all kinds of junk.
Garbage. Yeah, you look at the times. Now I don't go in anymore because I've got the backyard. But prior to the produce ripening, when I go in, I'm just astounded by what's in their carts. Jeez. And mostly there's obese people pushing the cart.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just lost soul.
I got to continue to go this shopping with my mom, and it's more. I have to go more than I want to be in these stores, but
Yeah.
it's interesting, that's for sure. It's even when I'm eating whatever, it's not large amounts, like nowhere near I used to. But even the small amount, you still feel it.
Yep.
Still feel it. So it's a big difference running up fields versus big difference. Much more pleasant being in that state of peace. No, have no desires. Just all right.
Yeah, that's.
We'll get through this, guys. I think we're going to go through some more challenges with what's happening. Stay on that bluff. This thing not.
Twice a day. I got the phone set twice a day because I'm up at both times.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
That's awesome.
And I'm telling you, it's helped so much. And I was building up such resentment to the power structure. And I pray for them now every day, twice a day.
Wow.
And least, again, it may not help them, but it sure the hell is helping me. You can't pray for something for an extended period of time and hold a resentment against it. It's impossible.
Well, what do we do when we're working on ourselves? We're helping everybody else. It's the only way. You know, for supporting others and so on and so forth, we can do that. But the real magic comes when we work on ourselves. We can only do so much assisting others. Spoon feeding does not help anybody. Doesn't help. It may look like it's helping in the physical, and that's where it stops. It stops right there. You know, and we go to, for example, the old age homes, nursing homes, and it's, what is it? It's all spoon feeding, right? And look at the state of these poor souls. Instead of, you know, going there and, you know, educating these people on they have limitless choices of what to do and so on and so forth. They're left without choices anymore because they fell in the trap of the medical mafia, and that's where they've gone with that belief system and being spoon-fed, and they believe that that's beneficial for them. But hey, you can see it for what it is. See for what it is. Okay, let's get in a comfortable position for anybody who wants to remain. And if you gotta go, we understand. It's fine. But you know, even if you only have 3 minutes to meditate. Do you use your 3 minutes? Whatever it is, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Whatever it is, like that 9 seconds, that 4, 3, 2 time of the day. If that's all you have, do your 9 seconds. If we can continuously put ourselves in that wonderful state of giving repeatedly every day, you know, I think we're going to move in the correct direction. So, all right, let's get comfortable here. Close our eyes. And we start getting into a beautifully relaxed state. Our feet flat on the floor if we're sitting. Try and keep the spine erected, straight up. Keep your hands in a relaxed state. You can hold your thumb and index finger together, or you can put your fingers in the heart mudra. Whatever you like, there's many choices. Focus on keeping the tongue in the roof of your mouth, or roll it back and suck on it slightly to that builds a hydration, a field strength of hydration, and probably many other things. We focus on our breath, driving the breath in through the nose, out through the nose. As we breathe in, we take the breath from the tailbone all the way up the spine. As we exhale from the top of the head, all the way down the front of the body, back to the tip of the tailbone. And we cycle a few of those breaths. And with each breath, we get more and more into a relaxed, deep state. And in this beautiful, relaxed state, the sense of the body starts going away, where we don't even feel the body anymore. That's when we're in a beautiful, peaceful, relaxed state where we just are sitting in the lap of creation, enjoying the presence of field strength of Plaf just flowing through us. Plasma love always flowing. Now let's move our focus to the area below the belly button. Microcosmic orbit meditation is very, very powerful. It helps restore balance in all the chakras of the body. Anytime a chakra is out of balance, not spinning properly, you're going to feel off. So this meditation helps immensely bring balance. And every time we put our intent and emotion in balance, we are being nourished. So we'll have less cravings and desires to eat physical foods. Meditation is a great foundation. It can be done as we're doing now, sitting there focusing on the breath. It could be done doing yoga. It could be done walking in forest, on the beach. It could be done sitting with a loved one, family member. There's infinite ways. There's no set rule for meditation. It's a state of a field strength, of a higher field strength that we can put ourselves in. We can put ourselves in these states instantaneously the more we do it and the more we practice, of course. So just think if every day at 4:32 you spend those 9 seconds and you do a few minutes here, a few minutes there, it all adds up at the end of the month. Continuously focusing below the belly button with a mini tornado spinning in the direction of counterclockwise. This spinning the vortex, things, energies move in spirals throughout the universes, interacting with each other, where the stronger fields feed the weaker and bring the weakness back to balance. Continuously focusing on the breath and the tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath as we move deeper and deeper into the state of peace where we just are. A beautiful space. Anytime we come into a challenging situation, put yourself in the state of peace and elevate their souls. The more we do it, the easier it gets. Let's move our focus to the genitals, for the males, testes, for the women's, the ovaries. The tip of the tornado is touching that area, the genitals, spinning faster and faster. Bringing balance to that area. With each breath, we're going deeper and deeper. There's no sense of the body anymore, just the breath. The mini tornado spinning faster and faster. As we move the focus down into the perineum between the anus and genitals, that floppy extra skin. It's the muscle that we control our urination. Very powerful area energetically. In yoga and martial arts, they know about this. Goes back thousands of years, since the beginning of time. As we tap into the soul, all the knowledge is revealed. We don't need to be taught when we are connected to all knowledge of all creation. Just think of all the information from all the wonderful herbs of how it came to be. As we move the focus, we bring the tornado to the tip of the tailbone, spinning faster and faster with each breath, a counterclockwise rotation. Tip of the tailbone. With each breath, we go deeper and deeper. Keeping the tongue in the position you chose. Feeling that plow flowing through the tornado, bringing balance to that area. Move the focus up the spine to between the kidneys, king and queen, with their crowns. With each breath, the tornado spinning faster and faster. In through the nose, out through the nose. Drive that low volume breath deep into the groin. And keep that focus on the mini tornado between the kidneys. It spins faster and faster and brings balance to that area. With each breath, feel yourself nourished and whole and at peace. As we move the focus up the spine to the middle of the shoulder blades. Feel that tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath, bringing balance to that area. As we feel the spine stretching itself out through the field strength, rising up. You may feel the spine pop into position if it's slightly out anywhere. As it gets elongated, everything is in a deep, relaxed state that we don't even sense the physical body, but we sense it energetically. As we move the focus up the spine to the area where the top of the spine meets the skull, and to mini tornadoes spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to that area. Feel the spine elongating even more. Feel yourself growing back to blueprint. With each breath, we go deeper and deeper. Tornado spinning faster and faster. Let's move that focus to the top of the head, 1,000-point junction. Feel that tornado bringing balance to that area. Within the whole physical brain structure. Where all the nervous system is attached physically. As we continue to focus on the breath, we go deeper and deeper. We feel the skull going back to perfect alignment with the neck and the spine. Feel the plates in your skull going back into alignment as the tornado spins faster and faster, bringing balance in that area. Continuously focusing on the breath, keeping the tongue in the position you chose. If the mind wanders, just observe it and let it go. It's not yours. Move the focus of the tornado to the third eye position and feel that third eye brighten up, full of light. Brilliant, beautiful, golden light. As the tornado is spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to that area. You shine that light throughout the planet. Move the focus down to the throat area, thyroid, the voice box. With each breath, the tornado is spinning faster and faster. Continue to focus on the tornado and the breath. Feel the balance being restored. Our voice, keep it active. Sing. Move the focus down to the heart as the tornado is spinning faster and faster. To feel that field of the heart, the strongest field, pumping out that plaque throughout the planet. So that everyone is touched by our generosity of sending plaque. Especially to all the leaders As we move the focus down to the solar plexus, between the lower ribs and belly button. A lot of nerve endings in that area. The nano-coated highway connects to all the body. Superconductor, super insulator. Moves energy at many times the speed of light. Whatever is desired. Let's move the focus to cycling the breath again. From the bottom of the tailbone, we take an inhale. We shift the energy of the breath up the spine to the top of the head. And we exhale, shoot the energy down the front of the body, back to the tailbone. Just repeat that a few cycles. You can start to feel the body now, all back in balance. Feel nourished, rested. As we cycle through the breaths, the breathing. With each breath, we're starting to come back into our body, starting to feel toes, feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, buttocks, torso, shoulders, arms, fingers, neck, head. And when we're ready, we can open our eyes, returning back. And we're back. Oh, boy. It's just amazing how the time flies. So,
Nice to stay in that state.
yeah. Oh, man. Thank you so much, people.
Thank you, Jim.
It's always a pleasure to stay connected in this craziness, especially now what's going on. We can see and feel of how people are getting more and more disconnected with each month of these lockdowns and being in place, and more rules and regulation. It's taking a toll on people. So we really, really need to keep our field strength up and feed feed all these souls that are in a confused state and in that unknowing state. You know, we're all in a bit of that, but we must stay focused, because there's nothing can compete with higher order. If we can truly tap into that, they have no chance. They really have no chance. And if we have doubt in that, it's not going to be good for anybody. So we must keep that focused on that higher order power of peace, balance, correct conduct, because that's all it knows how to do. And it will continue with or without us. We can wipe ourselves out. The creation is going to continue in perfection. So thank you so much again. We will see you Wednesday if everything's okay. And thank you so much. You know, it's interesting what's been happening in the last 5 years. You know, how people are confused. And, you know, we continually lie to ourselves, where the process is simple, answers are in plain sight. If we just commit, trust, and keep faith, don't let anybody move us out of our direction we want to go, we will see the power and magic of what is possible, because it's truly limitless, as we've seen and we will continue to see, for the people who choose. Thank you again, and we'll see you on the page. We'll see you hopefully on Wednesday, and then again next week. And have yourselves a great rest of the week. And ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye, Tasha.